Welcome to the Predictive PlayBook. I'm your host, John Ryan, and I have two of the hottest handicappers, not just at SportsMemo, but pretty much on the planet. And they've had some runs recently that are ridiculously good. I'll start with Jimmy Adams. I'm not trying to make one better than the other. They're both very, very good. One just
Oh
has
no, his run is better, John. His run is
well,
better.
he's just a
You
little
can
bit
probably.
hotter. I mean, that's why he's sitting back a little bit because he doesn't want to get us, like singed or anything. But he's on a 29-5 Major League Baseball run the last 34. And, I always go back to Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of Wager Talk, who ripped off 25 Major League Baseball plays in a row. And you were at 17, I believe, and that topic came up. And, I think you had Marco concerned.
It
But
sure did. It was quite a run. 17-0 was amazing. And then, the tweet came out from Johnny Detroit that Marco held the record at 25-0, like you said. And I really felt the pressure. Reaching that plateau would have been real difficult. I think I lost the next game and then started winning again right after that. 29-5, and hopefully we have another couple winners for you tonight.
yeah, it's awesome. Welcome to the show, too. And Adam, welcome to the show. Glad you two guys are together. How's it going this week for you? Other than I know you're moving into a new home, so that's good. I mean, it's nice that you're not living on the street anymore.
No, the move's going good. I'm moving about an hour away from where I was just living. I'm now on the same street as one of the places you can legally bet sports in the state of New York. So I'm back in Schenectady, which is has one of the functioning sports books. Since New York, you still have to walk up to the window and bet it like it's 1990. No mobile. There's no mobile in New York yet, but it's going good. NBA playoffs have been going good. I would love to have a MLB run like Jimmy's had. I could use one of those. I had it kind of going like that in Korea with the Korean baseball. I needed to translate over to MLB, which I keep sort of hovering right around the 500 mark. So hopefully this will. I've got my first MLB play since Friday. I took a couple days where I was focusing on other stuff. So hopefully this will spark a little bit of a run because I've got one for tonight.
Yeah, it sounds great. And even yours truly is starting to heat up. So I think you guys are. I'm benefiting from talking to not just you guys, but everybody. That 4 o'clock show at Manny's Pub. I always come away there like, wow, I didn't know that. And then,
John, you're always giving credit to all of us. How about your NBA playoff run? Aren't you? You're red hot in the playoffs, like the last few years, right?
Yeah, it's been. I guess I can put. I promote better by doing this. And, people can read it. I'm not a very good promoter. I can promote anybody under the sun.
69% ATS last 3 playoff seasons for John Ryan in the NBA. Go over to SportsMemo and get some of his picks, huh? That's hot, John. Good
Thanks.
job.
It was good. It was a good May. Hockey, which is something I usually only put out the top-rated plays. I've been running that in the playoffs as well, and that's 4-0 the last week. And I had Montreal, and as shocking as that is to me to see, like, holy cow, that won. It's you do those types of value bets over time, and you guys know it better than any. But for our listeners, it's not necessarily to bet and win that game, but you do it consistently over time, and you're gonna add money to the bottom line at the end of the season. So, my machine learning applications are starting to get it. It's kind of fun. Let's talk a little baseball here first. In the National League, we have the Chicago Cubs, and I know Adam wanted to talk about this game. Yeah, the standings are starting to kind of filter out a little bit. Tampa Bay's on that ridiculous run, and whatever you do, don't try to stand in front of that freight train. There's 17 out of the last 18. I can tell you back in 2002, when Oakland had won 18 in a row, I bet against them 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because
Third
they
time's
were
the
going to
charm.
lose. All right, so that would, live and learn, right? So I'm giving you a historical perspective, not to really do that. I mean, you might be able to say tomorrow that, oh yeah, I mean, I should have definitely gone against Oakland, or not Oakland, but Tampa Bay. But don't do it because you think they're due to lose, because there is no such thing. But the Cubs, they're one of those teams, guys. I just over the years, I just cannot figure them out. I think I know them, and then I'll get on them, and then they lose a series to one of the worst teams in the league, much like Detroit swept the Yankees. And what's that all about? But anyway, back to the Cubs. Let's turn it over to Adam here and hear what he has to say about that team and their opponent.
Yeah, so the Cubs, over the year, they're typically a team for me that I look to bet against, just because they're a team that people like to bet on. So you're not always going to get the right price on the Cubs. However, I feel like this Cubs team, maybe more so than any in recent memory, is kind of flying under the radar a little bit. I don't know that the masses have them rated as one of the top teams in the National League. However, if you look at them coming into today, they lead the NL Central. They're only a couple games back of the three teams in the West that seem to be beating everyone, which are the Giants, Padres, and the Dodgers. And they've won 6 of their last 7 games. And I think it's 7 of their last 8. And I just like the way this team is playing. Now, San Diego's a great team, but I think that this is a spot I can go against them for a couple of reasons. One, they're playing this is the end of a road trip, so I don't know if the right word is tired, but they just haven't. They've looked a little lethargic this week. They've lost 3 of 5. They weren't very competitive last night in a 7-2 loss in the opener of this series, and they've been on the road since May 24th. So they went Milwaukee to Houston, and now they're in the Cubs for 2. They're in Chicago for 2 more until they head home. So I think in terms of a spot, like a scheduling spot, I think this is a nice spot to potentially go against San Diego. Now, from a matchup perspective, I really like the pitching angle here for the Cubs. You got Kyle Hendricks on the mound. You look at his numbers for 2021. Not great, 4.63 ERA, 1.42 WHIP. But if you look at his numbers his last three starts, he's starting to trend back to what we would expect Kyle Hendricks to be for, he's going on with the 8th year of his career. I mean, so this guy, Hendricks' career numbers, 3.20 ERA, 1.12 WHIP. If you look at his career numbers at Wrigley, they're incredible. I wish I actually went in and got his exact career numbers at Wrigley, but he's got to have a sub-3 ERA career there. He is lights out in this ballpark over his career, and it's why I think his struggles at Wrigley so far this season are probably more of just a small sample size thing. His last 3 starts have been on the road. 8 innings, 1 run. They're all wins, by the way. 8 innings, 1 run against the Tigers. 6.2 innings, 3 runs, only 1 earned against the Cardinals. And then 7 innings, 3 runs against the Pirates. So 3 quality starts, 3 wins for Hendricks. So he's definitely trending in the right direction. And if you look at his career numbers at home, they're awesome for his career. I have to think that he's going to have a good home start coming up here because, we're talking about an 8-year sample size where this guy has a 3.4 ERA or better at home every single year. The Padres are going to counter with a guy named Ryan Weathers, who's he's a rookie. It's his first year in the league, and they're doing like the Shane McClanahan thing with him where they're not really stretching him out yet. They're going to let him go like 3 or 4 innings. He'll start and he'll go 3 or 4 innings. Now, his numbers are really good. 34 innings pitched, 1.31 ERA, 0.90 WHIP. But the nice part is you only have to deal with him for 3 or 4 innings, and it's still a pretty small sample. So I don't know that just because his numbers are this good, he's 30 innings into his career. This will be the first time he's pitching at Wrigley, which is not an easy thing to do. And the Cubs are 19-10 at Wrigley this year, so they're clearly playing their best ball at home. The other thing here is, right now the Padres bullpen is like all the rage, right? They're the best bullpen in the league, and I don't really disagree with that. But the Cubs are right there. I mean, the Cubs are second in baseball and bullpen ERA. They're sixth in WHIP. Craig Kimbrell, it's like, he set the clock back 2 or 3 years at this point. I mean, the guy's unhittable he's pitched 22 innings. He's got a sub-1 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP. And you know that he's going to be the one coming in at the end of the game. So I certainly trust him right now. And finally, I just think you're going to get deeper into the game with Hendricks, who's been throwing 6-7 innings a start regularly now for the last few starts. So even though the Padres bullpen has been really good, you're going to get the Padres bullpen probably for 5 innings. The Cubs got 2 runs off the Padres bullpen last night, and they had to work about 5 innings last night because Paddock was out in the 5th. So and when you add all that up, there's been a little move toward the Cubs. You can still get them at about -112, -113. I posted this at -115. I think that's fine. But I just think the Cubs at home, they're playing in my opinion, they're playing better ball. They're 19-10 at Wrigley, and Kyle Hendricks' career numbers suggest that he's going to have some positive regression at Wrigley. I think that's a pretty cheap price for the Cubs at home tonight to keep playing well.
Oh, I love the breakdown. Let's see what Jimmy has to say about this game and see if he agrees with it.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a great breakdown. Thank you, Adam. I like what you said about the Cubs kind of flying under the radar a little bit. I took the Cubs on Saturday in their 10-2 win over the Reds, and I thought that price was really cheap. We have a team in the Cubs that everyone thought was going to be, I think worse than they currently are. So at this point in the season, you have Chris Bryant trade rumors coming into the year, and last time I checked, I think probably Saturday, he was batting .318. The Cubs are hot. They are hitting well as a unit. This is what John said about streaks was a good point as well in MLB. You want to bet on streaks in baseball, not against them, as opposed to maybe a sport like the NFL where you're going to pick your spot to go against a team. In baseball, you do not want to get in front of a winning team. The only reason this is probably a pass for me is because of Weathers. And are we going to see some regression out of him, or what's going to happen? I like everything you said on the Cubs, but I just want to wait and see and watch what Weathers does tonight. So it'll be a entertainment only game for me.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same side as Jimmy. Where there's I look at spin rates and not just speed. And you're right, 100%, Adam, about Ryan Weathers. His 4-seam spin rate is close to 2,100 RPM. Slider is over 2,200, and then the change, you might be able to see the seams because it's only about 1,700, and that difference combined with the velocity changes makes him really hard to hit. And from what I read from a scouting report, if you watch the game tonight, Weathers has heavy sinking action that sometimes tails in on right-handed hitters, which is somewhat unusual, but not all that unusual. But it makes it a situation where if you see him getting a lot of ground ball outs as opposed to fly ball outs, that's a plus sign for him and the team. Now, Kyle Hendricks, 4-seamer by comparison, 1,900, sinker, 1,800. So he's 300 RPMs different, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to pitch because he only walks 4.4% of the batters he faces. The exit velocity is excellent at 87 miles per hour. And you would think a guy like this, they would just tee off on, but it's all about movement and location. And average speed is 86 on the fastball, 87 top end. So you would think, wow. We watched the NCAA Super Regionals coming up, and 87-mile-an-hour fastballs are getting hit, into the next county. But again, he's experienced, like Adam said, and he knows how to get out of tough situations. He knows how to throw the first pitch strike, whereas Ryan Weathers is young and, is just overpowering people, not necessarily with hitting his location, but that's where I get a little mixed signals just in my head. And lastly, the bullpen use. So the Cubs apparently, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, they used a lot of bullpen the last 2 games. I think it was over 9 innings. And looking at the pitches thrown over the last 5 days, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it looks like Dylan Maples threw 39 on Sunday, so he might be able to come back tonight. Brad Week threw 21. He's a lefty, so I would think he would be available. But Keegan Thompson threw 36 yesterday, and I would say, he's definitely not available. And then Tommy Nance pitched yesterday, 13, but he hasn't gone back-to-back days yet this year. Do you guys see anything like a concern there, or is this just the Cubs just managing their bullpen efficiently?
Well, I'll tell you, John. I don't think I'm going to win this bet without 6 or 7 from Hendricks. I'll just, I'm banking on 6 or 7 from Hendricks. And what I will say about Hendricks is that I think if we're talking about guys that know how to pitch, I've got him up there. He would be in my top 3 probably of guys in Major League Baseball that really understand how to pitch, as opposed to that are just throwers or that just have such good stuff that they're going to rely on their stuff. I've always loved Hendricks as a pitcher, and I also think that's why he was able to already sort of figure out what was going wrong in April, because he had a horrible April. And if you look at his last 3 starts, he's looking a lot more like the Kyle Hendricks that's been super consistent going on about 7 or 8 years now. I think 2014 was his first year, so this would be his 8th year in the league, going into his 8th year. And he's really never had a bad season. He's never had a season with an ERA over 4. And we're talking about the better part of a decade at this point. So I totally get where Jimmy's coming from with Weathers. I mean, this kid is very good. Like he's nasty. And if he was going 6 innings, like if I wasn't pretty confident that he'd be out after the 4th, I would be more hesitant to make this bet. But he hasn't gone more than 4 innings in a game since much earlier in the season, and it looks like that 3 to 4 inning sort of window. And I'm just going to double check here. Yeah, his last 6 appearances, it's been 4 innings, 4 innings, 4 innings, 3 innings, 3 innings, 1 inning. He had a 5.2 inning start back in April against the Dodgers. So if they were going to push him last time out, he got through 4 innings really easily against the Brewers. So I just think that they're really managing his pitch count. I don't see him going more than 4 in this spot. So I'm pretty confident that if Hendricks can get me there, at least match him for 4 innings. I like Hendricks to pitch deeper, and I think the Cubs have a better chance against the Padres bullpen right now than the Padres do against one bridge guy in Kimbrel, which I'm hoping is what it comes to. Now, as you guys know, anything can happen, but I think if I get 6 or 7 from Hendricks here, I'm going to be a good spot to win, and we'll have Kimbrel in the 9th to lock it down.
Yeah, good points. So you're not really making a play against Weathers per se. You want him out of the game, get to the bullpen.
That's why I'll advise, because I know everyone asks. I'm not a huge first 5 guy. I don't play a ton of first 5. This is a scenario where I absolutely would not play the Cubs first 5. I'm playing it the full game because I think they could get something off of Weathers, because I don't think that 30 innings into his big league career he's just invincible. But I think I'm more likely to win this one innings like 5 through 9 than I am like right off the bat just them teeing off on Weathers.
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying. And, Kyle Hendricks has always been a guy who's relied on command. He's not a velocity guy. So if he's off a little bit, he's going to get shelled, which makes me hesitant to back guys like that. But if his command's on, look, yeah, you were right. He's 7 innings, 6.2 innings, 8 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 1 run last 3 starts. So the form is good, and he's been going fairly deep into games. So, you make valid points, both of you.
Yeah, this is great. This is what it's all about. This is how you get to be a more intelligent, astute bettor. No doubt. So we do have a play from Adam on the Cubs, and now we're going to move to the exciting NBA playoffs. which are, they're going, I guess, according to plan so far. The Sixers last night had a big scare with Embiid going out in the first 11 minutes, and I think the whole city of Philadelphia, either held their breath or something else. But it looks like he's going to be okay. I did see one stat, guys, that I thought was a little misleading. It said that with Embiid out, the Sixers have been outscored by 97 points in these 4 games. And I think that's a little misleading because he didn't play. He and Simmons and Tobias Harris did not play the fourth quarter in the last 2 games to start with. And even if it is 97 points over 17 minutes, it comes out to, a very small amount that a team that can prepare with Embiid not playing, I think, could easily overcome. So if it was the Atlanta Hawks, who are probably going to be the team they're going to face next, or the Nets, or any of the other, elite teams, I would say the Sixers are in trouble when Embiid is not playing. But against the Wizards, I think even without him and a day to prepare, I think they'll take care of it in Game 5 for what that's worth. But I know the Suns-Lakers is an amazing matchup because now there's no AD apparently. And, guys, as you've always seen throughout the whole season, even on the Manny's Pub Show, we're looking at Rob Vino's injury report that he gets at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day to see what is going on. And sometimes those reports end up not being true. There was several games where a guy wasn't supposed to play at all and he was out. Yet you go to the tip and there he is. He's playing in the game. So, be really aware of that and make sure that your guys are playing, or the guys that you are expecting not to play are not playing. But Suns-Lakers tonight, Suns -5. Looking to take control of this series and possibly win it. So let's turn it over to Jimmy Adams and see what he thinks for tonight's game.
Yeah, thanks, John. The Suns did a great job in their last game, tying the series up 2-2. DeAndre Ayton had his 4th straight double-double in the game. Chris Paul came up huge considering he's injured. Payne behind Paul is a very capable backup. And Devin Booker, we all know how great he is. So the Suns are confident. Now they're heading back home, tied 2-2. We've got no AD. He's listed as doubtful, but I'm just going to go ahead and say he's not playing tonight. Caldwell Pope was a question as to whether he's going to play or not. So we're in one of those situations where, do you think LeBron can take over this game by himself and at least get a cover? Or do you think the Suns can win by 6 points? So the Lakers' 3-point shooting in the series, absolutely abysmal. Last game, they shot 32.5% from deep. They're shooting 29.1% from the series. For the series, that's just not going to get it done against the Suns team. And that's probably credit to the Suns defense. But role players, quote unquote, are going to have to step up. AD being out, I can't overstate enough how much the Lakers are going to miss AD. We're going to look for the Suns to turn LeBron into a jump shooter, tire him out. If he starts taking threes or settling for threes or mid-range jumpers, the Suns are going to coast to a cover. And even with full vintage LeBron trying to put the team on his back, this is a really good Phoenix team that frankly has been disrespected all season long. And I expect them to get the win and cover here tonight.
Yeah, I have to admit, my oldest son said that we would see vintage LeBron, and he's pretty good in those calls, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And
and LeBron is going to have a monster game, most likely. There's no doubt about it. What are the other guys going to do, right?
Yep, that's the whole key. And I've said for months now that second unit is the big mystery when if they would get to the conference finals and then the finals. I just think there's a big gap. You look at I hate to talk about the 76ers, but their second unit's playing pretty darn well right now, and I would put them up against the Lakers in a heartbeat, and I would take any betting line that anybody would give me, including Tony Finn. So, you got to rub the buddy there a little bit here behind his back.
Yeah.
But he's probably watching. He'll end up in the chat room here and screaming at me.
Yeah, he'll get back at you in the next show.
But Adam, let's turn to you here. And do you think 5 is not enough points? Like I kind of think it should be like 7.5, and the Suns win by double digits.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where the line's headed. I bet it closes 6. I bet it closes 5.5 or 6. I think if you want to bet the Suns, you better get on 5 now, because I don't know that it's going to be there come game time, especially, assuming Davis is like, once Davis is confirmed out officially, that's definitely going to move more. So I definitely like the Suns here. I mean, actually, I'm on the fence with adding it or not. And you could have got a better number at one point, which I always, hate to add late, but I actually think -5 is a fine number to play this at, because I think you'll still get a little value. Once they confirm Davis out for sure, I expect this to go to 5.5 or 6. So I like this. Let's put it this way. The Suns have to win this game. I mean, it's right there for them. If they want to win this series, this is a must win. It's at home. Most likely no Davis. And I'm really not worried about the vintage LeBron game, because I think the Suns are going to have a good defensive game plan for him. And if he's getting no help from the rest of the team, I mean, if the Lakers are going to continue to shoot this poorly, it doesn't matter what kind of game LeBron has here, because they're just not going to be good enough to beat the Suns in Phoenix, in my opinion. So I really agree with everything Jimmy said. His breakdown was pretty much spot on. And the only way I would play this would be to lay it with the Suns. And I'm still thinking about getting it. I'll probably have something on this, whether it becomes an official play for me or not. I really do like the Suns to win here, and I think I can justify laying the 5. So Suns -5, in my opinion, is a very strong play.
And the marketplace for player props, let's look at this real quick before we get to the next game. Devin Booker. I think this is telling you something. Devin Booker over 27.5 at DraftKings -107, unders -120. LeBron James over 27.5 -134. Can you tell me who the public is betting on that one? Under is +105. Under is +105. Am I missing something, guys, or is this telling me to bet under LeBron James points and over Devin Booker?
Certainly getting the right price on the under for LeBron. I mean, you still have to. He still needs to stay under that number, but from just a pure value perspective, you're definitely getting better odds than you should be on the under there. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the value. I'm not a prop bettor, so I tend to stay away from these kind of things. And it's because you said 27.5 for LeBron.
Yep.
So if he's the only one scoring in the game, he's going to go over that prop, which is why, I don't want to take LeBron in and under.
You have a bad game here and score 30 easily.
Exactly.
So
that's what scares me with it. I like the Devin Booker over, though. And then lastly, we have triple doubles. I just wanted to pull it up just to see. Will LeBron James have a triple double? +375. No is -590. And that's the only one that's listed. I don't know why the other ones wouldn't be listed, but
so no, there's no value there. Don't lay -590 or whatever it is.
I don't even think there's value on the yes, because I don't know that he's going to pass enough to get 10 assists here.
Right, and you just can't do it. Like I said, with the way they've been shooting threes, you can't do it.
Right. Yeah. So they're going to have to make shots when he gives it up too, and that's who knows if that's going to happen in this spot. So. Yeah, but I definitely agree with Jimmy. I think the Suns are a good bet here.
Great. Let's move over to one of the more interesting things on Wager Talk NBA Tip-Off Show, which if you haven't seen that show, guys, you got to go see it. Hosted by Joe Ranieri, who's also a host on Sports Grid on Sirius XM 204, and it's just a entertaining and very informative show. Some of those guys come on to the Manny's Pub. In fact, the majority of them do. and they feature. I'm fortunate enough to be a feature of that program. Sometimes it gets abused, sometimes it gets misunderstood, and I sit there and go, "Wait, what didn't you understand?" But these are some of the betting systems I have. I guess now over 5,000 of these little creatures in the NBA alone, and as Tony Finn is encouraging me not to use the p value, but there is a statistic called the p value, and it's like the z score on steroids. It tells you how the parameters are working together, or if they're not, and that's important because you don't want to just have a system that says bet the Phillies on Saturday if they went through the McDonald's drive-through before noon. Yeah, that doesn't mean nothing. But this one here is kind of interesting, and it was to promote some discussion on the show on this one, and we're going to feature it on Manny's Pub Show at 4:10, which is about 15 minutes from now. And the system's pretty easy. You're going to bet on road teams revenging a loss, which the Celtics are. The road team is a double-digit underdog, which the Celtics are. The road team suffered a double-digit home loss in their previous game. Those teams have gone 10-48, 38-19 for 67% cash tickets over the last 5 seasons. But if it's a playoff game, which is what we are concerned about this time of year, 7-2-1 for 78%. Now, this is you can disagree, you can agree, you can say it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, or you can say that's interesting. But let's start with Jimmy here. And do you think Boston at plus 12 even has a chance being on the same floor as the Nets right now?
Oh, wow. So plus 12, that's a lot of points.
It is.
That being said, you are betting on Jason Tatum when you're taking the Celtics, right? He had dropped 50 the other night. Can this Celtics team keep up with a Nets squad that really can score at will and has shown in this series that they're the far superior team? I am going to have to pass because when you are taking the Celtics, you are really holding your breath. That is a tough bet to make and hope that they can claw in there. Conversely, laying 12.5 is just out of the question because in the NBA, there's just better opportunities to make money. You don't want a backdoor cover, the Nets win by 11 tonight and you lose your ticket. So if I had to pick a side, you got to go with the points, but that is a really tough bet to make in this spot tonight, and I would say a no play for me.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Adam?
So I'll just say I haven't gotten involved in this Nets Celtics series yet, but I will say this just in general. I agree with the pick on the Celtics because I just thought we would see more close games. I thought we would see more games in this series like Game 3. That's just what I expected for the series, and I also thought it would be more competitive than it's been so far in terms of, the Celtics, they got up for Game 3 and they stole a win there, but every other game has been a double-digit loss. And I've always been a Brad Stevens guy. I've always leaned toward the Celtics, especially in the playoffs. I think they're well coached, and just this is more of just a gut opinion here, but I think they're better than they've shown through the first 4 games. And now that their season's on the line, I think we'll get an effort worthy of covering that number. So I definitely lead toward the Celtics here.
Sounds great, Adam. Sounds super. So I think this is the point. As I put these things out, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to end up going to the window with it. I do think on the one side it's a big risk because the Nets can see blood in the street now, and they would like nothing more than to close this out because they know that Milwaukee's already resting. So I don't. That's the scary part of those guys. They scored the dynamic trio scored 104 points in the last game. And in my database, it was one of the most offensively efficient games played in NBA history. And there's no sign of a regression on the Nets having a clunker tonight, which is what I think the Celtics would need to have a chance to win. But I guess anything's possible, and that's why we watch the games and like them so much. So lastly, let's start with Jimmy on this. Just tell everybody where they can find you, any special deals you have. Maybe a promotion that you're going to go 34-5 again over the next 39.
Yeah, that's all I need, John. More pressure. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so we've been on a good run. 29-5, last 34. We're gonna try and start the month of June out hot here. Head over to SportsMemo.com. I have one 4-unit top MLB play tonight, and it's just $9 discounted from the usual 20. So grab it for $9. A lot of people have been getting weekly, monthly, season-long packages. That's all for your best value. If you're not totally sold on that just yet, just hop on and get the play tonight for $9, make some money, and then come back for a little more.
Well, that sounds great. How about you, Adam?
So you can find me on Twitter at TopFlightSI, and head over there today because anything I have today I'm going to post for free. So this is going to be an entirely free day. I've had like all paid plays the last couple of days, so I wanted to get a couple out for free. I already posted the Cubs, so there's full analysis on that up there. That's a 4-unit play. So that's already locked in for tonight. Anything else I add for today will be posted at Top Flight SI on Twitter for free. I've posted a little special up there as well. So, go over there. I also posted all my records for the year so far, and I posted every single play I played in May. So, if you want to check out where we're at for 2021, it's all over there, as well as sport by sport records. So Top Flight SI on Twitter. Get a full analysis of the Cubs game, and if I add anything else for Tuesday, June 1st, I will be posting it there.
That's awesome, guys. I really appreciate you being on the show. And in about 10 minutes, we're going to have Manny's Pub, which both of you guys have made appearances on. And we do get a little off the rails sometimes, but that's the whole thing. It's a bunch of guys getting together at the pub, having a couple of pints of beer. On Fridays, we actually do show the beers Rob Vino gracefully did with that. I think it was a Miller Lite, which we're going to have to work on that. But it's just a lot of fun, and encourage you to come over and get on board that show. Chat room gets pretty nuts sometimes, and then we have special drop-ins, out of nowhere. I don't even know they're going to appear, but everybody at Wager Talk and Sports Memo gets a link, and if they have time to pop in for 10 minutes, sometimes they pop in and make a surprising, not just appearance, but a surprising statement here and there too. So it's always on edge type of good stuff. And we'll see you there. And then make sure you get over to sportsmemo.com and get Jimmy Adams Vegas. And Adam, I get it mixed up because the Adam is both combined in the name. But anyway, Top Flight Sports, Adam, both at sportsmemo.com. Just scroll to the expert drop-down menu, and you'll find them quite easily, and then get on board their special packages. Subscriptions are always the best way to go, guys, because you can get 30 days. That's a test drive. Don't judge anybody at Wager Talk or Sports Memo on one pick. Just because you buy the 5%er and it didn't lose doesn't mean the guy sucks. All right, you're talking about people that have really, really stood the test of time and are veterans, and all of us have been invited to be on these sites. You just don't walk in the door and say, "Hey, I'm a sports pro." You have to earn the stripes, okay? So for sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, predictivememo.com, and on behalf of Jimmy and Adam and myself, may all the wins be yours.